السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اطلبوا العلم ولو بالسين. Seek knowledge even if it is in China is an adage that is often attributed to the last prophet of Islam, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's a simple yet profound testament to Islamic world's commitment to education and intellectual pursuits. Not only does it summarize the essence of Islam's engagement with Asia, particularly China, but it can also give us sort of a rough picture of both cultures during their formative years and subsequent centuries. Now, in this mini documentary, we'll explore the historical, cultural, and intellectual exchanges between the early Islamic world and China, divided into three main chapters: trade and technology, philosophical influence, and beyond the distance. We will begin our journey with what I think is one of the most interesting touch points between both worlds, which is trade and technology. Let's get into it.
The historical backdrop of the interaction between the Islamic world and China begins around the 7th century during the time of the Tang dynasty in China and the early years of Islam. The establishment of the Silk Road as a network of trade routes connecting the East and the West facilitated not only the exchange of goods, but also ideas, cultures, and technologies. The Silk Road then served as a conduit for the dissemination of Islamic teachings and facilitating intellectual dialogue between these great civilizations. The first recorded diplomatic missions from the Islamic world to China in 651 AD during the reign of the third Caliph Uthman bin Affan. The mission marked a significant development in establishing formal ties between the Tang dynasty and the Rashidun Caliphate. The Chinese, intrigued by the new religion and its followers, referred to them as Dashi, which is a term used for Arabs and Persians during the Tang dynasty. This early encounter set the stage for a series of discourses that would shape the cultural and intellectual landscapes of both regions. Over time, the trade along the Silk Road played a pivotal role in these exchanges. Muslim merchants, renowned for their business acumen, established thriving communities in major Chinese cities such as Chang'an, now the modern-day Xi'an, and the now modern city of Guangzhou. These merchants were instrumental in introducing Islamic culture, art, and science to China. The bustling markets of these cities became melting pots of diverse cultures where ideas and knowledge were exchanged alongside goods and exotic items. The mutual influence of Islamic and Chinese scientific advancements is evident in various fields. In astronomy, for example, Islamic scholars were heavily influenced by Chinese star charts and astronomical instruments. The famous Islamic astronomer Al-Biruni acknowledged the contributions of Chinese astronomy in his works. Additionally, the Islamic astrolabe, a sophisticated instrument used for solving problems related to time and the positions of the stars, incorporated elements of Chinese designs. In medicine, Islamic medical texts such as those by Avicenna or Ibn Sina were translated into Chinese and studied by Chinese scholars. Similarly, Chinese medical practices and herbal concoctions also influence Islamic medicine. The synthesis of these traditions and innovations in the fields of technology, trade, and medicine laid the groundwork for advances in the many fields of healthcare and the well-being even today. The introduction of Buddhism to China had parallels with the spread of Islam in the region, creating a vast and diverse religious and philosophical discourse. Islamic scholars showed a keen interest in Confucianism and Taoism. One notable example is the Hui Muslim community in China, which developed a unique cultural identity blending Islamic and Chinese traditions. The Hui Muslims adapted Islamic architecture, calligraphy, and art to Chinese styles, which makes for a unique cultural fusion. The Great Mosque of Xi'an, built in 742 AD, is a clear byproduct of this, with its Chinese architectural elements and Arabic inscriptions etched on its very walls. On the other hand, Sufism, what most call the mystical branch of Islam, was pivotal in spreading Islamic teachings and culture in China. Back then, there were Sufi missionaries that are known for their spiritual practices and teachings. They traveled extensively along the Silk Road while establishing Sufi lodges and engaging with local communities along the way. The influence of Sufism is evident in the cultural practices of the Hui Muslims and other Islamic communities in China. Sufi poetry, music, and spiritual practices became an integral part of their religious and cultural life. Furthermore, the Mongol Empire accelerated the integration of Islamic and Chinese cultures. The empire's vast expanse connected the Islamic heartlands with China, facilitating unprecedented levels of exchange. The Mongol rulers, particularly Kublai Khan, patronized Islamic scholars, artists, and even scientists. One prominent figure during this period was the Persian polymath Nasiruddin al-Tusi, who significantly influenced Chinese astronomy and mathematics. His works, including the Tusi couple, which is a mathematical model used in astronomy, were studied by Chinese scholars and integrated into their own astronomical systems.
I think it's important to understand this proverb or popular saying not just at face value but from the context within. We know that China was a destination for knowledge, but I think the proverb itself reflects so much more than that. Think of the significance of the destination itself, which in this case is China. The vast distance of China from the Arabian Peninsula symbolizes the lengths one should go to in their quest. Just imagine the dedication required to travel such distance in a pre-modern era. But I believe this is what it takes to become truly learned. It's not just about fulfilling a duty, going to school or university, but a strong desire to understand the world around us. And China itself, during the Islamic Golden Age, was a flourishing center of learning. It is respected for its advancements in many fields. Reminds us that knowledge isn't confined by borders and cultures alone. And especially for young Muslims, they can benefit so much more by drawing knowledge from diverse sources, even though seemingly unrelated to Islam. Scientific discoveries, technological innovations, or even artistic expressions all hold valuable insights waiting to be explored. And looking beyond the literal meaning, we can understand the proverb in a new light. China becomes a symbol. You can think of it as any unfamiliar territory or any subject that pushes us outside of our comfort zone. So by having curiosity and the willingness to venture into the unknown, young Muslims can become the driving force behind the wheels of innovation and progress. This is what it takes to push the Ummah forward. Young Muslims have the potential to become the architects of a brighter future for the Islamic Ummah. So, if I may leave you with a message, it will be this. Embrace the call to knowledge, explore diverse fields, and let the curiosity and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide you. Eventually, you'll stumble upon something, be it knowledge, talent, or any kind of discovery for that matter, that is designed just for you in this world, so that with it, you can benefit all the people around you. Remember, the world is our classroom, and knowledge is the key to unlocking a future filled with progress and prosperity. Here's Faisal from Islam in Asia. I'll see you on the next episode. Assalamu alaikum.